Hey Ricky.
JT, what's up?
Just wondering, you want to go grab a coffee with me sometime?
Yeah, keen.
Yeah.
Keen.
When are you free? You free on Saturday morning?
No, I've got a group run on Saturday.
Jeez. Sunday night, you free then?
Sunday night, I have netball.
Netball? Jeez, that sounds pretty fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, what about Tuesday? I'm free Tuesday night.
I got mixed basketball Tuesday night.
Mixed basketball? Who are you doing all these sports with? Jeez.
The active crew.
The active crew?
Yeah. Hey, do you want to come for a run on Saturday?
Yeah, am I allowed to?
Anyone is welcome.
Oh, wow, that sounds pretty good. So I can just come on down and have a run with you guys?
Yeah, there's a bit of a crew and everyone's welcome. And we'll grab a coffee afterwards and have a bit of connection.
Sounds good. Is there anything else I can come along to?
Yeah, you can get involved with anything. We have fortnightly group rides. We have basketball mixed and men's on Tuesday nights. Thursday night men's basketball. We can chuck you in a team. We've got mixed netball on Sunday nights, which is going off, and group runs on Saturday.
Wow, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's go grab a coffee Saturday after our run then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect.
See you then.
Welcome to the Active Hub podcast.
Conversations to motivate, inspire, and encourage you on your movement journey.
I'm your host, Ricky Bolmers.
And I'm your co-host, JT. Welcome back to another episode of the Active Hub podcast. If it's your first time here, thank you for joining us. And to all our regular listeners, thank you for your continued support. Today we have an amazing guest. We have Matt Lafontaine.
Well
I think
done.
we got that right.
Yeah,
the French little name there.
Yeah.
He's a horticulturalist by day and got some pretty cool things going on in the background. So thank you for being with us today, Matt.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Can't wait. I mean, we were just saying how we've been chatting for half an hour. We almost went through half a podcast before we even started. So
I know we've got all the good content out already, so sorry about this if it's a bit dry now.
Yeah.
But one thing we always do on the podcast, just to get things warmed up, is just a few quick fire questions, so our guests can get to know you a bit better. So the first question I have for you is footy team. Who are you supporting?
Oh, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Melbourne, unfortunately.
We're currently recording this one. It's week 3 of the finals.
Yep.
So who are you bandwagoning now? We've got Port and Sydney,
Yeah.
Brisbane and Geelong left.
Yeah. I think I was actually on the Hawks bandwagon, I'll admit. I was loving this whole hawk ball thing.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, but I don't know. I'd love to see Geelong win.
Yep.
Sean Manor, who's playing there at the moment, a young kid. He's my age. I played a little bit of footy with him, and he spent a lot of time trying to get into the AFL. So to see him win a premiership, I think would be huge. So
and he
Geelong.
had an unreal game against Port Adelaide.
Yes.
I saw something like it was the second best finals performance in the last 15 years behind Buddy Franklin's game.
Really?
One of Buddy Franklin's game.
I didn't even see that. He had 23 and kicked 3 or something.
Yeah, and
ridiculous. Did you see his VFL grand final last year?
I did not, no.
He had 26 or something and kicked 7 goals.
Jeez.
In a losing team.
So he's been good for a while.
Yeah, he's very, very
but
good.
now he's got his shot in the big league. So, would you say you're a morning or a night person?
Night.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could do morning, but I'm definitely a night owl for sure.
Okay. Get more of your work done at night.
Yeah, I don't know. I just enjoy the nights more. I don't
Yeah.
know, something about it, but I wish I could get up in the morning. I take a bit to get going.
Yeah, that's right. What's one of your favourite ways to unwind after a big day?
Great question. This is something I've actually struggled with in the last few months. I've just been just sort of non-stop going.
Yeah.
I think for me, honestly, probably just phone down and sitting with my housemates and having a laugh and just having a chat.
Yeah.
We get along really, really well, and it's just a good chance to sort of escape everything that's going on and just be together. So I'd probably say that.
So you really enjoy conversation?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Now, Ricky isn't here today. He's unfortunately sick, but I'll ask his favourite question, which is, are you a scruncher or a folder?
I actually do both.
You do both?
And I'm very aware of this.
Wow. Okay, so we've had about, 13 to 14 guests on.
Yeah.
Only one other has said that they're a scruncher, and Ricky says scrunch, but he says he's halfway in between. He kind of folds and then scrunch.
Yeah,
so
I actually do that too. Wow, Ricky would love this.
He would absolutely love you.
Yeah, actually, that's what I mean by both.
Yeah. Fold it and then quickly go to the scrunch.
Fold and then you just can't. Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
No, that's good. He'd be very proud of that. So I'm sure you guys would get along well.
That's great. Yeah.
No, that's good. Why don't we get a little bit into your background? Tell us a bit about, your family dynamic, where you grew up, hobbies, that kind of thing.
Yeah, such a broad question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up in Langwarrin, lived there until I was about 11 or so. And then we moved, as a family, we moved to Frankston just to try and get into Frankston High School. And we had to get into the zone there because it's a pretty hard high school to get into. So then lived in Frankston for, quite a while. A good 10 years or so after that. And then when I was about 21, I moved across to WA on my own, drove across there and made the big move. Spent 2 years there. Came back in 2023. So it would have been, 23 years old or so. I think that works out. Something like that. But came back and now living in Mornington. Always grown up a very sporty person. Always absolutely loved sport, loved footy. Footy was just everything to me. I think a lot of Australian kids, it's just, what they love. By nature. By nature. They love it. And I was very obsessed with it. Was very talented growing up with it too. Probably got a little bit lazy as I was getting older, kind of expected things to just go my way, which was a bit naive of me, but have always just loved sport, always picked up sport very well. The one sport I cannot get my head around is basketball. There's something about basketball. Okay, now
we don't get along.
That's
my sport.
No, I love it, but there's just something about the ball bouncing around. It's just, I can't do it, which is so bizarre for someone who I'd say is like quite
coordinated.
Good at, coordinated and, good with sport, but it's just the one sport I can't do.
I'll give you some tips.
Yeah, we'll go downstairs after. Perfect. Always loved sort of that sort of sport side of life. Was involved, played a lot of footy with Frankston YCW Footy Club. Family's heavily involved with them. Played half a season with Mornington this year. And that's sort of me. I feel like I'm always a very energetic person. Love to just be around people. Love to try and make people smile. And with that, just love being a part of a heap of different communities. There's a lot of communities that I'm involved in around the Mornington Peninsula, and I love it. But that's sort of a bit about me. I don't know. There's so much, like, where do you want me to go with this question?
What about your work? So you're a horticulturalist. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so been working at Mansfield's Propagation Nursery just in Skye. Been there for 6 years, except for when I was living in Western Australia. I'm not qualified in horticulture, but learnt enough that I could probably say I am. But I've worked there for a long time, worked in all different areas. We're a production-based nursery, so it's all about numbers, rates, getting, like, everything moves really fast. And we have, I think, somewhere around 3 million plants within the nursery. So my role there is to work on part of the growing team. And it's our role to essentially get the plants almost at their final stage before they end up going out to customers. So it's very fast paced. We're heading into spring now, so it's starting to really fire up. So been doing that for a while, but I do have aspirations to be a firefighter or potentially something in the mental health space. That's something that I'm sure we'll have a chat about, but something I'm passionate about. So but for now, I'll take care of plants, and in time I'll start taking care of people, hopefully.
Do you take your work home with you? You got lots of plants at home?
I got a couple, but it's funny, I think some people expect me to have like a full garden.
That's what I would imagine.
It's almost like if you work, I think a lot of people might be able to relate. You kind of don't want to take your work home with you sometimes. With plants, it's probably a little bit different, but I actually don't. I've got a couple plants at home, but I probably don't take as good care of them as I should. But the
it's interesting that big. People kind of like, they love their work, and then once they get home, they don't want to see another plant or
shut off.
Pretty much. And so you moved to Western Australia. You played a bit of footy up there as well? Was that in the Waffle?
So originally when I first started there, I played in Kalgoorlie, which is a little, it's actually relatively big over there, but a big town, or it's a big mining town per se, about 6 hours east from Perth. Originally I went there to play half a season of footy. This was when COVID was still in place here, and we went into, it was probably our third lockdown. And it was a short one, but I was like, I need to get out of here. This club had been talking to me for a little while, and I just was like, I'm coming across, I need to get out of here. And sort of just within a week, pretty much, I just decided I was going to pack up and leave and go over there. And so I played half a season there, played in a grand final, and we lost by 5 points. It was a great game actually, but we lost that. Fell in love, decided to hang around, ended up moving out to Perth and playing with Subiaco in the Waffle out there, and played. I was there for half a season. I only ended up playing a couple games because I got injured. And then a few sort of issues that the club had encountered with player points and stuff meant that I actually had to find a new club to play for when my injury came good. So I actually moved back here for the second half of that season and ended up winning a premiership with YCW. So it kind of all worked out in the end.
What year would that have been?
Well, that would have been 2022.
Yeah, is that against the Pines?
Nah, that was Bomb Beach.
Bomb Beach,
was
right.
Bomb Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I go down to most of the grand finals down there, so I probably would have seen you play, but not knowing
maybe
who you were there.
Yeah, so. No, I don't think we didn't play Pines in a grand final. The ones I've played Bomb Beach twice.
It would have been Sorrento and Pines, sorry.
That game was one of the best games.
I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, streaker.
Goal after the siren.
Yeah, it was a point after the siren, actually. I remember that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, very, very lucky. Loved my time in WA. It's very far away, I guess, for us here, but definitely recommend anyone to go there because it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, loved it over there.
And so once you've come back, tell us a bit about what things popped up once you did come back. You've obviously got Safe Space, which we'll touch on. Is that something that you started up once you came back to Melbourne?
Well, moving back was actually a really challenging time for me because at the time I was in a relationship, had been for a couple of years, and I kind of was at this midpoint of do I stay for her even though probably work wasn't quite where I wanted it to be. I didn't have a job at that time either, and I didn't know what I was
going to do. This is in Western Australia?
Still in Western Australia.
Yep.
Didn't really have that friendship connections that I was probably hoping to have at that time. I felt like all I had there was her and her family, but then here I had all these opportunities with work, and at the time we Speak and Share, all these opportunities that I was like, well, like, what do I choose? And so I chose to move back, and I guess through that the relationship didn't work out, which was shattering, but with that I guess there was always going to be a sacrifice either way. And so when I came back, took on a new role back at the nursery. So I went back to the nursery, took on a role there, did some work with Speak and Share, was able to obviously be around my friends and family again and sort of restart my life back here in a much better headspace. And slowly from there, just really was thriving in my passion in the mental health space, and that led me to a year after coming back. I created this little community called Safe Space, which at the start was originally just an idea for me to invite people to come down to the beach with me while I journal, and let me be a shoulder to lean on or a shoulder to cry on, whatever people needed from me. I just wanted people to come down and utilise me as a point of support, whether it was a hug, whether it was a conversation, for a swim, like whatever they needed from me, I was offering that out. And then I kind of realised that there was potential in this idea. For me, I thought therapy and seeing a specialist can be quite expensive. It can be very intimidating. You don't know what to expect. So I just wanted this to be like almost that first step for people to really take charge and take change for their lives.
A safe space.
And soon enough I started putting it out on social media, and it just started booming. I went from 2 people to 5 people to 10 people, and before I knew it I was getting 20 and 30 people down at the beach. And we've moved into Common Folk in winter. But we've had up to 50 people, and last night we had 40 odd people, and it just shows that there's a need for what we're creating or what I've created, and it's going really, really well. So I'm really fortunate for that stuff.
So is it mainly like journaling that you guys do in that time?
In the sessions, there's 2 things we do. So the first part is normally always revolved around more of an icebreaker activity, which I like to keep it something that's drawn or written. So for example, last night I got everyone to write a letter, and that letter was just something really nice to someone within the room. It wasn't directed to anyone. Instead, I collected all these letters, and then people pick out someone else's letter and they take it home. So it's just a random act of kindness. And we might do that, or we might do an activity where we'll get people to draw, and then we'll hand our drawings around and people will add or change to it. And the whole idea there is just to, I guess, ease the nerves for those who are nervous, but also just get everyone connected, because a lot of what Safe Space is about is connection with other people and knowing that they're not alone and there's people there for them. So we'll always start with that, followed up by a variety of different questions that I'll pick out. Sometimes they're themed, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they'll dive into maybe some difficult areas. Sometimes it's about more personal development type questions. It can be anything. So it just sparks those deeper conversations that we probably lack as humans sometimes.
And what made you kind of start with like things like those questions and the journaling and the writing stuff down? Is that something that you found really helpful for yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, when I started going to the beach, the journaling stuff was fantastic, and I'd always had a massive fascination for just these deep questions and thinking really far into certain areas. And so I thought, why not do this, or why not create this for other people? And at the start when I was doing the safe space stuff, there was no structure to it. I actually posted out saying, you know, there's no structure, it's just whatever you want. But as we started getting groups, it was like, okay, I can't just do no structure. We need to do something. Yeah. And so I tried to figure out how we can get people connected together. And I thought, conversations and drawing, they're two fantastic ways to look after your mental health. And it's a great way to be able to, I guess, handle a group of people. And from there, you can kind of go anywhere with the ideas on how you want to structure a session. I think that's the beauty of it. But it's worked really, really well for a lot of people. Yeah, yep.
And so for someone who was maybe wanting to start that, they've got a lot of, cloudy thoughts in their brain or things they just want to get down, what would you, advise for them just to get started and to start journaling?
I'd say give it a go. It took me a long time, I'll be honest. The day I actually journaled for the first time was the day before I decided to create Safe Space. So that in itself just says a lot. If you decide to go down and write your feelings down, and you might have a realization or something might spark in your brain that might encourage you to do something that you didn't know you needed to do. And it's quite challenging. And I think for a lot of people, talking about how they're feeling mentally or just in general can be quite difficult. Journaling's a great way to put those words down without having to talk to anyone directly about it. And that might be that first step that you need to potentially take that next step forward for yourself. So I think journaling's a great way to start. And if it's something that's quite challenging, I think a lot of people, particularly with journaling, have an issue with what do I write about? And it's like anything. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to, it's just words. Like whatever comes out, just write it down. And then if you don't like what you're reading, scrunch it up and throw it out. I think that's another really positive thing too, is if you just want to let go of something, write it down on a bit of paper and throw it out. But I'd just say give it a go. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you do it, you might discover something about yourself that you didn't even know about. So
I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with in this current climate where we're, so, within four walls, I guess, and so structured. We're so used to following structure. Whereas like when you write down on a piece of paper and just journal, and like you said, you can just write whatever. People struggle with that idea because it's like there's so much freedom. We're not used to that these days. But I think like I've tried it a little bit, and I find that it like saying it out loud or writing it down on your phone, something like that can help. But sometimes it still feels like there's something there. But there's something about when you write it down and can see it there in front of you, it almost feels like you've taken it out of your body. And it's like you can see it. And I know we're speaking with another guest, Lily, about this last week. It's like that problem seems so insignificant, or whatever it is that you've written that down. It seems so much smaller when you put it on that paper and you can see it, and it's not so cloudy in your brain. But I think it's that sense of unstructured freedom that people are so unused to.
100%, and I totally agree. But I think when you do feel that way, it's almost like, how do I start? But if you start writing those words, it's almost like it's like a snowball effect. It's like as soon as you start writing, you kind of go, all right, my brain's going too fast for what my hand can deal with. So I think just getting started and letting it sort of flow from there, it's definitely the secret.
And I want to touch on, before you were saying that you had some stuff to do with Speak and Share when you first came back. What was that? What did that look like for you?
So this was when they were very young. So they have a program that they bring into schools as well, and they were just looking for facilitators. At the time, this would have probably been maybe half a year before then. I raised $7,000 for them, shaving my hair off for because I had a big long mullet. I don't know if you ever saw photos.
I had seen photos.
Ridiculous. And I shaved it all off and raised quite a bit of money for them. So I guess they understood that I had a passion for the mental health space, and I believed in the message that they were sharing to people. And so I just had to sit down, had a conversation with them, and it turned out that they sort of said, if you want to help out and be a part of what we're doing, then more than welcome. And so came back and did that for quite a while, and just got to a point where I felt like I had more to give, and they weren't able to do that, and I came up with this sort of idea, and it's sort of taken me on my own little journey, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So very grateful for the opportunity that I had to be able to come back with them and be able to I guess promote their program into schools, but so grateful for what it's been able to create for me as well.
They're doing some awesome things. I've seen lately some of the partnerships they've had. It's like they're really starting to grow and pick up and go almost Australia wide, and I'm hoping that it eventually goes worldwide. I think they've got such a strong message to share. So
it's great. And it's great because it's in our backyard too.
It's literally homegrown. I'm guessing you probably would have met some of them through footy and stuff over time, and I think being in the footy world helps like a lot, because
Yep.
there's such a stigma around, footy and,
Mm-hmm.
not talking and being tough and that kind of thing. But the fact that they're in there, in the thick of it,
Yep.
like, they're able to influence those people firsthand.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I think
100%.
what they're doing is incredible.
Yeah, 100%.
You've said a couple of times that you've had a passion for mental health, and people have noticed it, like the Speak Share boys, and when you came back, you knew you wanted to do something in that.
Yeah.
Why do you think you've got that passion? Feel free to share, as much as you
Yep.
want or as little as you want, but why do you think that you've got that passion to help people?
Yeah, I think for me, I've been very open with it through my social media as well. Mine stems. So my passion for mental health stems back in COVID times. I was in a phase of just severe depression, anxiety, and I attempted to take my life in that time. This time was just so challenging. I felt very lonely and isolated. I found it quite difficult to talk to anyone about how I was feeling, particularly even my family, who they see me every day, and I think that's an issue. If you can't even talk to the people you're seeing every single day, then things aren't going very well for yourself. I'd spend a lot of time sort of just at home drinking, playing video games, and mind you, these video games, I'm very competitive too, so if things didn't go right in poor mental health space as well, it was horrible. So I found myself just feeling very angry, frustrated all the time, and things just weren't great. And then the sort of after I had tried to attempt to take my life, I knew that I had to make a change, because I couldn't keep going on the way I was. And for me, the first step was obviously talking to people about how I was feeling. So I started seeing a psychologist. First experience wasn't great. I guess it's different for everyone with psychs. I know that I've heard very mixed reviews on that. I didn't have a very good experience with this one. I also was opening up to my manager at work. LG is his name, we call him. He was actually a really good one for me, because he didn't need to give a lot of advice. He was just happy to listen, and he just said, whatever you need, I'm here to support you. And I think that's such a great thing for me, because I felt comfortable to talk to him, and he just gave me that space to be able to do that. And
especially in your workplace is such a valuable thing.
Yeah, well, other than family, you see them every day. Say I was living at home at the time, but other than them, you're seeing people at work more than anyone, really. It is important to have that opportunity at work to be able to do that. So what I discovered was, once I started talking to people about how I was feeling, for one, I was able to relate to a lot of people, or people were able to relate with me, but I started feeling instantly better. It's like what you were saying about the journaling. As soon as it was down, or in my case, as soon as I was talking about it, it was like this weight lifted off my shoulders, because I wasn't internalizing it anymore. It was actually out. And so through that rapid improvement, in that time, I actually moved to WA when my mental health wasn't great still. So there was a lot of improving to go, and a lot of my journey to happiness, I'd say, was contributed by Millie, so my ex, who I was with when I was over there. Her and her family were phenomenal at helping me regain my happiness. And I guess for me, where this passion stems from is, I know what it feels like to be at the lowest point, where you feel like you're on your own and you just want to take your way out, or the easy way out, and just give up. And I know how shit it feels to feel that way. Happiness isn't even a word that you even think of. And for me to have gone from there to just simply enjoying and embracing every single day, and I've really discovered who I am as a person, and I just thoroughly love being alive. And it's crazy to think that once upon a time I was at the other end. But for me to have gone from that low point to the high point, I have been able to gain so much gratitude for everything. And I feel like I'm in a point of, I don't think privilege is the word. I'm at a point where I feel like I have the purpose to have to try and help other people get out of that.
That's amazing, Matt.
I feel like I can be a beacon of hope for those people that feel like there is no hope. And I'm just sort of living proof that you can find your way back to where you want to be and be the happiest person. So it was kind of the long way around it, but I've seen what it's like to be at the worst. I'm now in a really, really good place, and I feel like everyone deserves that too, and I just want to help people do that, or encourage people to do that.
That's amazing, that attitude that you've had, and the perspective from actually being, at your lowest point, I think is really valuable, because, if someone's trying to give you these resources or help, but they've never really experienced what you're going through, it can be hard to relate to them. But I think the fact that you've been at that low point, and then you've, almost dramatically, at such a great point now. It's not like you're kind of in the middle. You're at a point where you're wanting to influence. I think it's, amazing, and people are going to be able to be able to relate to that and listen to you.
Yeah.
So outside of like the, I guess, talking and getting those feelings out, was there anything else that you changed in your life to try and help you to get onto a more positive track?
For me, the big thing about poor mental health, and I think it's just a general thing for everyone, is nothing changes if nothing changes. And so you have to really understand what it is that's wearing you out and what changes you need to put in place to be able to help. For me, the changes were that I was talking to people about stuff. I started getting back into exercise. I was moving more. I discovered a little passion at the time for punting, not the betting, but actual NFL, like punting.
Kicking, okay,
the college football stuff. I started sort of training for that, and I rediscovered a passion in that. Or not rediscovered, sorry. I discovered a passion for that, and I was able to implement these changes, and it was refreshing, and it almost just sparked up something in my head that I hadn't had for a while. And for me, moving across to Western Australia was the final piece of the puzzle. I sort of had a fresh start. I went away, went into a new state where no one really knew me. Well, no one knew me at all. I knew the only person that I knew over there was the guy who recruited me, and I hadn't even met him. So I was able to start fresh, and just that stimulation of everything that I was doing there was new. It almost made me just forget about everything else that I had going on, all the negative things. So I think, if there's anything I can recommend, it's just change. Change is the huge one. Find the things that you love to do and do them frequently. And that's what I ended up doing. I was able to lean back into the things that I know positively impact me and my mental health, and I did them more often, and it paid off. So
I love what you said with nothing. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. Because I think a lot of people are waiting for something to change, but they've got to make that first step to get to better mental health. They've got to change what it is that they're doing that they aren't enjoying, and start doing more of what they do enjoy. I think for a lot of people it can be that movement. Obviously, we know the effects of movement and the dopamine it gives you, and how it can not just only affect you just in the moment, but for a long term. So I think that's one thing. But even talking to people, or the journaling, that kind of thing, you've got to actually start by doing it to start seeing change.
100%. And I think people are so scared of change. And pardon me, another quote on top of that, I love a good quote, so I try and retain as many as I can, but you can either stay where you are right now and let it be hard, or you can start creating change and let it be hard. Either way, things are going to be hard. You can either stay where you are right now and let it be difficult, or you can step into this uncomfortable change and let it be hard, but also find significant growth. So it's up to you. It's not going to be easy either way, but it's up to you whether you want to stay where you are now, whether you actually want to get out there and find some growth and level up.
Embrace the uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Well, talking about embracing the uncomfortable, you've got something that's coming up that's probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable. Nice little segue there.
Yeah, nice.
You've got a challenge that's coming up. Why don't I let you introduce it and tell us about it?
Yeah, so on October 12th, I'm going to be doing, so it's less than a month now, it's crazy. I'm going to complete around 3,300 pull-ups. The significance of this is I'm going to be doing as many pull-ups as there were suicides in Australia last year. The statistic hasn't even come out yet, so I'm not too sure what it's going to be.
So but it might change depending.
It might change, but if I don't get that number, it'll be 3,249. So the pull-ups themselves has no significance to mental health, or at least I guess you could say, I don't know, it doesn't have any correlation to mental health, but instead what I'm trying to do is just highlight the amount of suicides that are occurring in Australia every year, because it is tragically high, and on average it's 9 per day, and I believe 3 out of every 4, so about 75% are men, and most of which are in my age bracket, or roughly, I'm 26 now, but 18 to 25. So just trying to highlight the significance of these numbers, and try and encourage people to look after their mental health. So in alignment with this challenge, I'm hosting a mental health wellness day. So on the same day as the challenge, on October 12th, from 12 till 4, I'm inviting a variety of people in business to come down and provide their service to the public for free. So I'm not fundraising for anything, but instead inviting people down to support me by supporting their own mental health. And it's just my little part to play in trying to help get this number down. And like I said before, just try and help people and guide them on the path back to hopefully being the happiest version of themselves.
Yeah.
So
you said there'll be a few activations. I've had a look. So things like ice bath and breath work, journaling, that kind of thing. I saw as well like friendship bracelet making, which is pretty topical at the moment.
It. So, I love it. I'm all about it. So a few businesses will come down and provide ice baths. We'll have meditation. We'll have a movement club in the morning. We'll do a movie night the night before. What else is there? There'll be a variety of different foods. We're going to have a whole range of different things. So gives people a chance to maybe try something new, maybe something that's a bit out of their comfort zone, or just discover something that might support their mental health that they didn't know might help. So it's designed, all the activities are designed to be mental health specific activities. So hopefully.
I really like how you've got those different things, because I think even for someone like myself, I'm got the things that I know help me, like movement and talking to people. But there's all these other things that I've seen people do, like the journaling. I haven't gone into much, and the breath work is something that I've never done much of, but really want to experience. And so having almost like a hub for these things all in one day is cool. You can experience different things and go, okay, that didn't work for me, but this worked for me. I think I could try this and implement into my life. I think it's a really cool way that people can, I guess, like quickly try all these different mental health strategies and see what helps them.
100%. And I think it's important to point out, like you said as well, see if you like it. Just because I say, hey, breathwork's really good for me, it helps my mental health, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So to be able to try these different things, I think is really important for everyone to just be like, yep, that worked, or no, that didn't work, this didn't work. But there's no harm in trying. And so like you said, bring it all together and give everyone a chance to try it all and see what happens. But I see potential in it. Like, I love to see there's not really many things like this going on, and it's not only just great for the community to come and support their mental health, but a great way to promote and show off these local businesses that are potentially local small businesses that are trying to really make a name for themselves and support them. So no one really loses in this, and I'd love to see this become something that's a yearly thing.
Regular thing.
I don't see why it can't be. 100%. So that's fun.
Even if it doesn't involve you wrecking your body every year, but just having like I said, a hub for all these different strategies is I think something that could definitely take off.
100%. So we'll see. This is the first one. Hopefully the first of many, but we'll see.
Now with the pull-ups, I want to highlight for some of the people, because I think some people, when they hear of guys like yourself doing these challenges, these crazy feats, these big numbers, they're kind of like, oh, why are they doing like that huge? Like, why are you doing 3,000 pull-ups and obviously for the number, but I think it's more about trying to realize where that like number comes from. Like you said, the 3,000 people who take their life every year. And seeing you go through, like, seeing how many pull-ups that you're doing, like, it's an absolute insane amount, and seeing the amount of, pain your body's in and how hard it is for you to do that, and then trying to see that is, how many people take their life every single year, like, that puts it into perspective for people. Have you kind of realised that and been able to share that message with people? I think another big message that I really picked up from all this is, the training and stuff has been a big struggle for me mentally. And it's interesting how doing something that promotes looking after your mental health, doing the training has actually been something that has affected my mental health. But one thing I've really picked up on this is the trainings are really hard when I'm on my own, but when there's people around me, it's easier. And I think that's something that we should all take away from that, is when we do have people around us, whether we are doing well or whether we're not doing well, whether something's hard or easy, it doesn't matter. When people are around us, everything just seems to be a whole lot easier. And so that's sort of the message I'm trying to get across, is I'm going to be doing a challenge on my own, trying to complete this amount of pull-ups, and it's going to be really hard, but when the community's around me, it's going to be a lot easier. And I think that's the message, is lean on the people around you. There's always people that are there for you. You're never alone. You just need to sometimes ask for that help or reach out for that help. So there's so many messages within what I'm doing, and I'm really grateful that I'm able to do that and promote that out to the community. So what's the training look like for you in the lead up? When did you start the idea, come up with the idea? When did the training start? When has it ramped up? What's it all look like?
So I started this time last year. So the reason I actually started doing it was because I had pubic overload, so I couldn't actually run for 4 months. I was told no running, limit your walking, no lower body weights, and this is someone who plays footy, so it's like, all right, well, what do I do?
What do I do now?
And at the time, I remember Ned Brockman was doing a lot of pull-ups, and I was obsessed with him. I think a lot of people are, but I was like, all right, I might start doing this. And yeah, I don't know. I pretty much just decided to do 6 reps at the start of every minute for as long as I could. Went for 26 minutes. So what's that? 150 odd pull-ups.
So that was the first attempt.
That was the first time I'd ever tried to do anything. Yeah, 150 odd pull-ups in half an hour. Yeah. It's like, geez, how good's that? Yeah. And then, got to work, got training, and 3 months later, I was able to do 6 reps every minute for 3.5 hours. Yep. So I was able to improve by 3 hours. Yeah, and in that time, I was like, this is so much fun. Like, what more can I do? And so, just sort of since then, I had this idea of doing this challenge. And shortly after I decided I was going to do it was when I heard a bit about Connor. Connor, who tried to do this challenge as well a few years ago. And sort of, lent on him. And he's been a great support for me. But, essentially for me, been training for a year. I've pretty much been training 5-6 days a week for the most part. The last month I've probably dropped back to 3 to 4 just because the volume on the weekends are so big, and I deserve a bit of rest. 100%. So it's been a lot. It's been quite challenging. A frequent question I get asked is, do you just do pull-ups? And I do them often, but I don't just do them. I do a lot of other things as well.
And stuff, you
got to do counter movements and whatnot. So it's been a long journey. I'm very tired. It's been a very long year, but 3 more weeks of it. So grateful to be doing it, and just can't wait for it to start. To be honest,
I think for the people who haven't heard of Connor's story as well, we've had an episode with him, so you can go back and listen to that. But one thing he spoke about is a lot of the other challenges that come along with the pull-ups, not only trying to physically be able to pull yourself up, but things like your nutrition and what you're eating, what you're drinking, your body actually how it reacts, things that you can't really control, muscles seizing up, that kind of thing. There's a lot more that kind of goes into it. Have you been able to prep that kind of stuff in the lead up?
I think honestly not to the extent that I'd like to. I think the exciting thing about this podcast is that you're going to be posting this after my event, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. But I think this weekend's going to be my final attempt at nailing nutrition. I probably haven't quite got it to where I want it to be, but I haven't really nailed a proper plan going into it yet. But I have a pretty rough idea on what I want to try and be doing. I haven't really encountered many issues. The only issues I've really had is on my left side. I had a few bicep tendon sort of flare-ups, but I've been getting heaps of work into that, and I'm all good. But I think for me, the biggest thing's just been trying to get that volume in and really get myself in a really strong position to be able to go into this challenge. And I feel like I'm at that point right now. I feel very confident. I know that the only thing I just have to nail is nutrition and just make sure my body's in a very healthy state going into it. So,
because I think with obviously with adrenaline and with having people around you go into it and you probably feel pretty good. And Connor was saying one of the things he did, he was like, I'm fine, I'll just keep doing them, I'll eat later, I'll drink later. And then he got to the point where his body just shut down before he could replenish. So it's about, I guess, trying to be disciplined with that and go, all right, I feel good now, but I'm not going to in an hour's time, so I need to make sure I'm getting the support I need. What's the support team around you like?
I honestly, for the day itself, I actually haven't organised anyone yet, so I need to finalise what that looks like.
Make a few calls.
I honestly probably haven't utilised that to the extent that I definitely should have. I think, like I pointed out before, is I feel like I've done a lot of my sessions sort of on my own, which is fine. But I probably haven't lent on people as much as I probably should have. My housemate Tyler, he's been fantastic at helping me out with nutrition and even some of the training as well. So he coaches out at Virtus where I'm doing this challenge, and he's definitely been so helpful for me. If I have questions, I'll just ask him and he'll tell me things exactly how it is. And so he's been grateful, but I definitely haven't probably lent on people around me as much as I definitely should have. But it's definitely something I'm going to have to do leading into it. But I don't know. It's been an interesting time. There's been a lot going on, and you kind of forget about those little things. So
it's the stuff that you go on the day, oh crap, I probably need my physio here or something like that.
Exactly. So, Speaking of Ash, so you had Jack on here. I don't even know when. How many weeks ago was he?
It would have been 2 or so months ago.
Months ago. So his wife Ash is my physio, and she's been phenomenal. So she's probably been the one that's supported me the most, because I'm seeing her every fortnight. And we're regularly checking in, and very regular at the moment. I need it. So she's been phenomenal at keeping my body in shape. If I wasn't seeing her, I don't reckon I'd be anywhere near where I am now physically, I reckon I'd be well off. So
it's a big shout out to Ash.
Yeah, shout out. Yeah, she's been amazing.
That's huge.
Very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously we said we'll be posting this kind of after your challenge. So I mean, I'm pretty confident that you'll be able to do it. I believe that you'll be able to smash it down. But once this is done, what does that look like for you? Is there anything that you're going to move into, or you're going to just take a bit of a break, or is there something that you've got your eyes on?
It's such a frequent question, isn't it? I think if all goes to plan and I can get this challenge done and keep my body in shape, I'd like to keep moving. I will rest. I've decided I wanted to think of other things, but I'm going to give myself time to rest. I feel like I lost a lot of my life doing this challenge, having to sort of say no to catching up, doing certain things, or even just going out and having a few beers with mates and stuff. I feel like I've missed out on quite a lot of that, so I wouldn't mind just chilling out for a bit.
It's not even like a physical rest, but also a mental rest. Like not having to think about it every single week. So
well, that's every day I'm waking up going, all right, who do I need to talk to about the wellness day? Or who do I need to do this with? Who do I need to... And it's crazy, so I can't wait for that. I'm going to go away for a few weeks, hopefully to New Zealand. That's the plan. So I'll go a few days after the challenge, just get out. But I think I was saying it before, there's a world record that I think I can give a nudge. So most pull-ups in a month, that's probably something I'm going to consider maybe training for. But before that, definitely some rest. Mental rest.
Do you know what the record is at the moment?
I think it's like 31,000 in a 30-day month. So it's looking somewhere between, it's about 1,100 pull-ups a day for a month. So I reckon I could...
I don't reckon I could do 1,100 pull-ups in a month.
I reckon you could do more.
I don't know. After some training. It's a pretty big thing to get up every single day of the month and smash out 1,100 pull-ups.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I don't know. It'd be cool to be able to say you got a world record.
Oh yeah, especially if you get like an official certificate for it. That's something that will hopefully dies with you. But on the trajectory the world is right now, it'll probably be beaten the week after.
It'll be flogged. It'll be smashed. I think the guy that's got the monthly world record is actually going for the yearly world record, and he's trying to do like 440,000 in a year, which is I think the monthly record just for 12 months. It's something silly. But
that's a big commitment right there. I know.
But I'm actually in this Instagram group chat with some of the best puller-uppers in the world, right? And he's one of them. There's a guy that's going for the 1 hour world record in there. The Aussie who recently broke the world records in this group chat. So it's just like a group chat full of these guys who love their pull-ups. And it's actually so much fun. So much learning out of it too.
That'd be great people to lean on.
They're so motivated. Like the guy who's going for the 1 hour world record has been such a big support for me as well. Like he reaches out, says, "You're doing so well, so proud of you." And he's nuts though. He's trying to do 1,300-ish pull-ups in an hour.
Wow.
Which is like 20 every single minute.
So that's like no rest either.
No, it's a rep every 3 seconds for an hour. So I don't know how he breaks it down. I think he does 10 reps every 30 seconds.
Because you'd have to like drink and probably have something to eat during the time as well. So you'd have to, It's silly, isn't it? But something about people nowadays, I don't know, they're just crazy. So many challenges.
I know. That's what we were chatting about before.
I'm worried that
I'm going to do?
I'll figure out something.
Why are you worried? I'm excited.
I'm excited too. It's more that from people like yourself and all the people we've had on, just knowing how much of a physical and mental toll it takes on you. It's like, it's not just the one day, it's like the lead up and the afterwards, how much
But how exciting is that though? And like the nature of it is, with the challenge I'm doing, for example, I see it as like my challenge is actually happening now, and the day of the pull-ups is going to be a celebration because all the work is happening now. Whatever happens on the day is dictated by what I'm doing now.
100%.
So it's kind of like you just got to embrace the journey. Because if you don't, then I don't know, you're kind of wasting your time.
I mean, that's one thing I love in life, is embracing the journey, embracing the process. Because if you're constantly focusing on the result, then you're just going to be let down and not satisfied. So something I actually have written in my room is, learn to enjoy the process instead of, thinking about the result all the time. So,
well, that's it. You don't get the result without the result. Like I said, it's just dictated by the process. So may as well enjoy it. That's good.
Any other goals in terms of the safe space side of things, or moving towards like more community?
I'd love to see potentially programs going to schools. I can really see the potential for Safe Space expanding. I think just by the nature of how many people are coming down to the sessions, it says that there is a need for this. And it's great to have, say, even Speak and Share, promoting people to talk about their mental health, and it's fantastic what they're doing. But I think to be able to provide a safe space for people to do that is just as important too, because I think some people want to talk about these things, but they don't know who to talk to or where to go. And to be able to have this is something that is so hard to find around in the community. And so to be able to provide this, I can see it expanding. I can see a need for it in Victoria and beyond. So I'd love to be able to see more safe spaces start up, and I'd love to see other people be able to bring their own personalities into it too. So I can't do it all myself, so I'd love to see all these people around within Victoria or beyond just hosting their own safe spaces for their community and seeing the way they do it. And I think it'd be fantastic and really vital for mental health. And I actually saw a statistic. Service usage among Australians who have visited, sought help or searched for advice from a suicide prevention provider in the last 12 months. Every single line in this has gone down. So clinical services, down. Digital services, it's pretty much the same. The phone or text line, down. The massive increase, community services. And what that says is that people are leaning on these communities that are being created, such as Safe Space, and that just says that there's a need for it. And so I think that everyone deserves to be able to have that. So I'd love to see that expand, a program into schools and educating kids on mental health and the impact on maybe the words that they're saying to other kids and what mental health actually is. And I'd love to be able to do that too. So options are open, just not sure on the direction yet.
So with that statistic, obviously being at the forefront of it, leading your own community, why do you think that the statistic is going that way? Because I think it's a topical thing. Like, we started the year, it was run clubs. Like, run clubs were the community that people wanted to go to get moving, have some conversation. Now we're having a lot more of these, I guess mental health communities that are popping up. Why do you think that statistic is going that direction?
I had a good conversation with a friend about this recently, and we had this discussion around how the clinical approach to mental health is quite poor. And I've heard this from quite a lot of people, particularly those who are peer workers. And I think to have these communities that are run by people like myself, I've got a big passion for the space, so I care about it all. I don't have much of a background in it. I do have, I guess, like my work with Speak and Share and whatnot. But I think because I'm very much relatable, because I'm simply doing it because I care and I have a story, and the energy I bring, it comes from a really positive place. And I think that that's what people enjoy. I think the whole clinical side scares people because it's quite structured and there's a process, and you've got to pay for it as well. But these communities that are accessible, like for example, Safe Space is free and you don't have to book, you just have to show up. I think that that's something that's really appealing to people. And but I think it just comes back to the ability to be able to connect with the people who are creating the communities and knowing that it's coming from a really good place. So
I think you nailed it there with the being relatable thing. That's what I've noticed about a lot of these communities that are popping up. The people who are starting it, or the people who create the communities, not just yourself, but the people who are regularly there that create that community and the values inside that community, they're relatable because they've been through what everyone else has been through. It's not someone who's gone to uni and got a degree, and they might have a story of their own, but they're more there as, like we said, a professional, and they're giving professional advice, and they might not have actual experience of it themselves. Whereas these people that are starting the communities, they're often ones who have gone through it themselves. They've actually gone up that scale, up that mountain, and they've been able to improve themselves, and people can relate to that and relate to those people a lot more. So
100%. That's why I think people are so keen to get down to these things, and they're working. A friend of mine, he would have been great to have on here as well beside me, but he talks about how these community groups and peer work especially is something that's just booming at the moment. It's working a lot more effectively than going to these like clinics and other spaces, professional spaces.
Well, it's not just about like what you get out of it, but also who you meet. Even from this podcast, that I'm pretty sure, I don't know, probably 90% of the people who've been on this podcast have been through people we've met at these communities. Referred to like this, I know this person, that'd be great to have on. And it's all from, these communities. You meet people, you find of people. So they're all kind of connected into one big community of people just trying to get better. I think.
And it's beautiful. And it's such an important thing. I'm so grateful to have found it too. It's not something I would have ever looked into probably a year ago. So grateful to be meeting all these amazing people out there. So.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Before we go, is there anything that you want to share into the community, any words of wisdom or a message that you're really passionate about that you want to share with our audience?
I think there's two. I think the first one that's a little bit deeper is at the end of the day, no matter what I say or no matter what anyone says, it's up to yourself to be able to make that change. No one else can do it for you. It's all totally up to you. So we can provide the tools and provide the advice that you need from us. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to make that decision that, hey, I'm going to make a change and I'm going to start this business that I want to do. I'm going to stop feeling so depressed and sad. I'm going to start leaning into this area and try and, regain happiness. And at the end of the day, it's all totally up to you. So try something new or rediscover an old passion of yours and lean into it and just start enjoying life a bit more. I think that leads into my second point, is that we take life so seriously too often. And I was definitely doing that for a good portion of this challenge. It was all, I've got to train, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But I saw this video of this kid and he said there should be 2 rules for life. Rule 1 is to always have fun. And rule 2 was to always listen to rule number 1.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And yeah, it's a great video and it's so true. Life is so much more fun when you have fun. If you take it so seriously, it's really draining. So find the fun in life. Think about what the hardest part of your week is and think about how can I make it fun. Just keep doing things that are going to make you laugh, make you smile, and just keep doing more of it, because I think life's way too short, and if you get caught up in it, it's just not going to be enjoyable. So if you need to make the change, it's up to you. Do it, but make sure you're having fun in the process.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be my advice. But at the end of the day, this is another good one too.
Yeah.
I'll chuck 3 in there.
Yeah.
Is you think you're on a path right now, you're going straight. If you shift that 1 degree is so tiny. As you keep going, that 1 degree starts getting bigger and bigger. That little change, day 1 might have only just been a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But say a year later, that gap's now massive.
Yeah.
Just that one little change and staying committed to the process and dedicated to whatever it is that shift is, you'll find such a big change eventually. So it doesn't have to be a big change. It can be such a little thing, and after time, it's going to be so different. So that's another.
That's one of my favorite things. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called the Kaizen method, and it's a Japanese method that talks about taking improvements 1 step at a time, or 1% at a time, instead of going from 0 to 100 and trying to, because when people do that, they often go there and they crash right back down to 0 and they don't get anywhere in the long run. Whereas the people who take it 1 step at a time, 1 little bit at a time, it's gradual and you don't see improvement every single day, but then when you look back a year later, you go, wow, look how far I've come. So I think it's just hard because people want to see one day and then the next day they want to see a huge change. Whereas it takes time for you, and then once you look back, you can see it. So
100%. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to look into that a bit further. But
it's amazing.
Exactly right.
You've definitely given us some amazing golden nuggets for our audience, and I'm sure going to inspire people. And if people do want to get connected, obviously we've got the event coming up, which we'll try and, this will be coming out after, but we'll try and post some promotional things before then. So how do people actually come down to that, and where is it, that kind of thing?
So if people want to get around the event, most of the sort of postings done on my socials, which is just my name, Matt Lafontaine. But on October 12th at Virtus Performance in Mornington, so that's on Torca Terrace, TORCA. From 12 till 4 is the main event for the Wellness Day. We'll do breath work at 10 a.m. We'll do a movement club at 11, and then that'll lead into the Wellness Day from 12 till 4. It's really exciting. We're going to get heaps of business, heaps of people down, and hopefully create what is going to be an amazing day for our community to come down, connect, try something new, have a laugh, have a smile, and just bring people together. So looking forward to it. I'll probably be starting my pull-ups pretty early. I'll probably be on the bar at 6, just to get some reps in before everyone rocks up. But I'm really excited for the day, and it's almost prepared, but looking forward to it. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you again so much for coming on today. It's definitely been a pleasure to have this chat, and I'm hoping that all the work that you're doing is going to be able to just have a ripple effect into our community and continue to grow. You're definitely someone to look up to, so thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Thanks for the kind words too, but thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.